Hello and welcome in our YouTube channel Metallurgical Facts. In this video series, we are doing the practice of metallurgical engineering questions, and this is part 9th of this video series. This is RNL WISAC Management Training Exam 2020. So we are doing only metallurgical engineering part, and before this we have given 8 part of this video series. You can watch those videos through our playlist RNL WISAC Management Training. That will be very beneficial if you are preparing for GATE exam or if you are preparing for RN exam as well as. Okay, so that questions will be very beneficial for clearing your concepts in metallurgical engineering. So the first question of this video is the creep rate is constant during of creep. So they have given four options, that is third stage, fracture stage, first stage, and second stage of creep. Okay, so if for doing this question, we should know about the creep curve, which is generally drawn between the strain and the time, that is T. Here I am writing time and this is strain. Okay, so this is typical creep curve, and we get, I am trying to draw this curve like this. We get the curve like this, and this region is actually, this whole curve is divided into three parts. Okay, and this is somehow maybe different from the book, but I am trying my best to draw this curve. Okay, so this is the first region, this is the second region, and this is the third region of creep. Okay, and this is also known as primary creep. Okay, so this is known as primary creep. Here this is primary creep, this is secondary creep, and this region is actually known as tertiary creep. Okay, so these are the three reason of this creep, typical creep curve. And here what happened, here fractured happened. Okay, so this is fracture point. Okay, so this curve is between strain, the point to be remember is that this curve is between strain and this time. Okay, so this curve is divided into three parts: first region, second region, and third region, that is known as first stage, second stage, third stage, that is primary or transient, and the secondary creep and tertiary creep. Okay, so if we will calculate this creep rate, means d epsilon by dt at whole curve, so we get like that, this d epsilon by dt will be minimum here. Okay, so this will be minimum creep rate. We found the creep rate is minimum in secondary region. Okay, so the reason behind that, this question this question is the creep rate is constant during which state. So we can say that this creep rate is almost constant in secondary stage. Okay, so second stage is correct option for this question. For this question we have to remember this curve only. This is typical creep curve, and this region also. Or for more details, you can read a detailed book for finer details of these curves, about these curves. And there are many more things we should know about this creep curve also. Okay, so the correct option for this question is D part. The next question is, in the commercial production of which of the following metals metallothermic reduction is used? Okay, so they are asking about metallothermic reduction, and the options are copper, zinc, zirconium, and nickel. So we will try to eliminate the options from here, and we will find the correct options by eliminating. So copper, we know, I have discussed many time like that. Copper is produced through the smelting reduction process. So we know for copper we do roasting, then smelting, converting, and so on. So, and then we get the pure copper. Also hydrometallurgy route is also used for this copper production. Okay, so in our playlist of introduction to metals, you can find all everything about the copper. Okay, and also zinc, about zinc. Okay, so zinc can also be produced through the blast furnace smelting route. I have already discussed with the in the element introduction part, so I'm not going to discuss again. So this can be produced through the blast furnace smelting route, and this is somehow produced along with the lead. Okay, and this zirconium you will see later on, and this D is nickel. Nickel is also produced by smelting reduction through pyrometallurgy route. Okay, and this zirconium is basically produced by the metallothermic reduction. We use Mg or Na for the production of this, for the extraction of zinc at commercial scale. So what we do same like we treat like titanium. Okay, so first of all we try to produce zirconium chloride, that is ZrCl4, and then we reduce by Mg. Okay, so then we get this ZR and MgCl2. This ZR is basically we got in sponge form, that is in solid form. A sponge spongy zirconium is produced through this this metallothermic reduction. Okay, and in this and this process is also known as Claus process. Okay, so Mg we can use, or Na we can use for the commercial production of zirconium. Okay, so the correct option for this question is C part. C is correct. Next question is, the shear modulus of a precipitation hardened alloy is 26 GPa and the magnitude of Berger vector is 0.25 nm. If the yield stress of the alloy in the overrest condition is 270 MPa, calculate the interparticle spacing in the alloy. Okay, so the strengthening in the precipitation hardened structure is due to the dislocation particle interaction, and we know the stress necessary for the dislocation to loop around the precipitate is formulated by this formula, that is tau is equals to GB by L. Okay, so this is the formula, and they have given the values that tau is equals to 26 GPa. So this value is given, we can convert in only pascals, that is 26 multiplied by 9, that is in pascals. Okay, and this Berger vector value is 0.25 nanometers, so we can convert this into meters. Okay, for easy calculation, for do not for avoiding the silly mistakes, we will convert in meters, we convert in MKS systems. Okay, so and the if the yield stress of the alloy is over in condition is, so yield stress is basically sorry, this is not tau, this is G is shear modulus, and this tau is shear stress, that is in this case yield stress. Okay, so that will be equals to the yield stress here. So this is 270 megapascals, so we can write 270 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 pascals. Okay, now what we will do, we will put these values here and we will get the answers. Okay, the answer, so I'm putting the value, that is 270, tau value 270 10 power 6 is equals to G value is 26 multiplied by 10 to the power 9 multiplied by 0.25 multiplied by 10 power minus 9 by L. Okay, so from here we can calculate this interparticle spacing, that is basically L. Okay, so this L will be equals to 0. I am writing directly here that this L will be equals to 0.0240 mu m, that is micron meters. Okay, so this is in micron meter, this length is in micron meters. Okay, so the correct answer for this question is 0.0240 mu m. So answer is not matter much, but we should understand the concept, how we can apply the formula, why we are using applying this formula, because they are asking about precipitation hardened alloy, and we know how we can relate that interplanar spacing with the shear modulus and with yield stress, or we can say this shear stress. Okay, so the correct answer is 0.0240 micron meters. So the next question is, in the process, so they are asking about one of the process, high purity alumina is extracted from bauxite. So the first option is Bayes process, Hall-Héroult process, Pidgeon process, Serpek process. Okay, so these are the four processes named as in options. So we will try to eliminate the options. So this Pidgeon process is something different. This is used for magnesium metal production by using silicothermic reduction. This is also known as silicothermic reduction, and in which we use that ferrosilicon. Okay, so ferrosilicon is used in Pidgeon process, and this is used for magnesium metal production. Okay, so this option is not correct for this question. Hall-Héroult process is something which is used for the aluminum production. Okay, aluminum is produced through by using cryolite on alumina. Okay, so this is Hall-Héroult is basically electrolysis process. This is not used for the extraction of alumina from bauxite. Okay, so this is also not correct. Serpek method is basically used for the purification of bauxite, purification of bauxite ore. Okay, and this is only when this is used when silicon, that is silica SiO2 content is higher in this bauxite ore. Okay, so we will talk in this Serpek method in details whenever we will do the aluminum extraction. Okay, so for now we need to understand that this is used for the purification of bauxite, and in which the silicon content is high. Okay, and this Beers process is basically used for high purity alumina production from bauxite. So A option is correct. We see that by eliminating all other options. Okay, so A is correct option for this question. The next question is matching type question. So they have given group A and group B. This is question from thermodynamics part. So group A is volume, temperature, work done, molar entropy, and group 2 they have given state function, intensive property, extensive property, path dependent. Okay. So in last video I have told you about the this intensive property and extensive property. Intensive property is something which is independent to the mass. Okay, and extensive properties on dependent on the mass of that system. Okay, from here we can conclude that we will try to generate our own option, that is P Q R S, and from here this P volume will volume we can match through the extensive property, because volume and mass, these all are the independent independent sorry, these all are the dependent on the mass, and these are basically the extensive property. Okay, and the second thing is that temperature. Okay, so this temperature, and I have already told you in previous video that temperature, refractive index, and density, these all are under the intensive property. So Q we can match through the 2. Okay, and now 2 are remaining, that is work done and molar entropy. So work done, we know this work done is basically this depends on how the process is performed. Okay, so this work done is only calculated in thermodynamics whenever we know the process. Okay, so suppose if we have to calculate the work done, so this will depend on the path of the sorry, this will depend on the path. Okay, so this work done is basically the path dependent value. So R we can match through the 4, and the rest we can match through 1. But we will know this molar entropy. Actually the molar entropy is independent of the path, but this is somehow dependent on the state of the function. So this molar entropy and enthalpy is state function. Okay, so enthalpy is also state function. So from here we can conclude that this C option is correct, that we are having code 3241, and here we can match this C option. So C is correct. Okay, the next question is at room temperature the mobilities of electrons and holes in pure silicon are. So they have given the mobilities of these pure silicon. So pure silicon means they are talking about intrinsic semiconductor. Okay, so these holes and hole and electron mobility is given if the number of electrons per unit volume of the in the conduction band of silicon at room temperature is 1.4 into the power 16. So calculate its resistivity. Okay, so we know what is the formula for resistivity. Resistivity rho is equals to 1 by sigma, and sigma how we can calculate if the mobility and the electron holes number of electrons per unit volume is given. So we can calculate this for intrinsic for intrinsic semiconductor. We can calculate Ni is equals to mu E plus mu H multiplied by E. E is basically the charge of electrons. Okay, so in this question what they have given, they have given the mu E value. Mu E is equals to 0.140 meter square per volt second. Okay, and mu H is also given, that is 0.038 with the same unit, and Ni value is 1.4 multiplied by 10 to the power 16 per meter cube. So these there is no need to change the unit, because this is also in meter cube, this is meter square. If they will give in centimeters, we need to change these values. Okay, we need to convert these units. And the charge of electron, that is E is equals to 1.6 into 10 power 19 coulombs. Okay, so now we will put the values, and after putting the value we will get like that 1.4 multiplied by 10 power 16 mu E, that is 140 plus 0.038 multiplied by 1.6 into 10 power minus 19, and from here what we will get, we will get sigma value, and this sigma value will be equals to 0.39872 multiplied by 10 to the power minus 3, because this is 10 power 6 and this is 10 power minus 19. So from here we can get 10 power minus 3, and we get rho value, so we will put here and we will get resistivity. So in question they asked about the calculation of resistivity. So calculate resistivity rho is equals to 1 by sigma. So 1 by sigma, that is 0.39872 multiplied by 10 power minus 3. Okay, so the unit of resistivity is ohm inverse meter inverse. Okay, and rho is equals to, we will get from here 2.50 into 10 to the power 3, that is in ohm meter. Okay, so this is the correct answer for this question, that we got 2.50 into 10 to the power 3 ohm meter. And this is how we calculated. We applied the formula, that is sigma is equals to Ni mu e plus mu h into E, because they are talking about pure silicon, so this is intrinsic semiconductor. This will behave like intrinsic semiconductor, and we know this rho resistivity is equals to 1 by sigma, that is inverse of this conductivity value. That's why we inverse this value and calculated this. Thank you guys for your attention. Hope you have learned something new in this video, and please give us valuable feedback of this video series, so that we will able to add few more parts in this series before RNL exams. Okay, and subscribe our channel and press bell icon to get notifications. Thank you.